session on Tuesday, October 17th at 7 p.m. and we are at Lincoln County High School for the meeting tonight. I'm going to start the meeting off by asking Dr. Butchie Burns to lead us in the pledge. We have a little flag we're going to be on the left. So smile at it.
I'll be proud to do this. I'm proud of our country, aren't you all? Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, I'm going to ask State Senator Mike Stewart to come forward to the podium, and we welcome him to Lincoln County High School. His first time here, I believe.
No, it's fantastic. This is this very impressive facility, and thanks for having me. It's not the first time I've been speaking to the school board, and I appreciate all the good work that's being done. This football field back here, incredibly impressive. And there's something about the heart and soul of the community that get built. These types of things unite folks, and they give a momentum to purpose that is hard to define. It's more than just the physical facilities of what it does to us inside. And so I appreciate that a great deal. I'll just take a moment because I know you got a lot of things to discuss tonight. I'm pleased again to be before you to be able to bring some dollars to be able to help on what I think are critical projects. One of these I don't need to present tonight, but I'm going to, and 3 checks for $5,000 each. The first of which, Kathy Judge, if you'd come up here if you don't mind. It's $5,000 of local economic development assistance grants to let me make sure I get the right check here. I don't want to give you the wrong check. They wouldn't like it.
Take it anyway.
I got lucky this time because all the checks are the same size, but in the Portland Community Outreach Center, we've done incredible work and it's important work. And so I'm very pleased to be able to, on behalf of the governor and the Senate, these local economic development funds, it's important what you do there. So here's the check for $5,000 in the back.
Purple school. We start to come over and have a meeting.
Well, we'd like for you to.
We
We're gonna start putting new wings in Monday
We'll wait for the wins.
and then, except goes on.
You let us know.
I'll do that.
No, I say that the one thing that I point out, we all know this, right? A lot of folks are hurting in our community, and it's not a new thing, right? It's folks struggle every day. And the Corcool Community Outreach Center plays a pivotal role for folks who are struggling every day trying to get by. And so I really appreciate they made the request and that we were able to come through with that funding. The other 2 checks here, the first of which is LEADA funds again, the local economic development assistance grant, $5,000 to West Hamlin Elementary School for beautification and equipment preservation around the West Hamlin School. And then our final check here, and I will get out of your way, is this is another $5,000. This is for new turf light scoreboard ticket booth. I know it won't pay for all of that. It'll pay a portion for all of that. And let me make sure I've got the right one here. Oh, it's interesting. They didn't put it in here. It goes to Lincoln County High School.
Yeah.
Lincoln County High School. And so we've got a lot more work to do because I can tell by the quality of the work that's been done. A whole lot. Yeah. Well. And I knew that one to begin with, but then I kept it until the end and forgot. Thank you very much. And as I said before, continue to make requests. I'm really glad to be able to use these local economic development funds. Every state senator's granted a certain amount that they can provide throughout their Senate district. It can only be in my Senate district. House of Delegate members have a different amount of funds. They also have the same ability to be able to provide these. I'm always pleased to be able to provide and request these funds for important projects. And certainly what's happening here in Lincoln County, I couldn't be more proud of the work you're doing and the school board doing incredible things. It's only upside from here. And this is impressive, and I applaud all your work. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Senator Stewart has been a friend of Lincoln County and certainly Lincoln County schools. He continues to work for us. That may be the shortest time I've ever seen you in a podium. He can elaborate a great deal. But he doesn't know that, but he's going to be helping us with our tennis courts and pickleball courts and whatever over to the other field coming up in the next year or so.
That'll take a little more work to get approved, but we can do it.
He's a wonderful friend. We're working on much bigger projects that we hope will come to pass that involves a lot of money. But I can't let that go without saying that he's kind of joined at the hip with Jody Pastori as far as bringing money into Lincoln County. And Jody has been the liaison from the board to with Senator Stewart. And we appreciate both your efforts. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
At this time, I'll ask Mr. Greg Martin from William and Schreiber Architects to come and talk to us about the Midway project.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I've been asked to kind of give you guys an update on the project, so you guys understand where we are since the last time I've been here. As you were aware, when we did it earlier this year, we had a deficit, just because of cost inflation and, everything with the project. So we had multiple conversations with the school building authority. And basically, Mr. Barnett and I, and Mr. Davis went and met with them and kind of sat down with the design, talked about options that we can utilize to reduce the square footage of the building. And we also talked about the location of the building, placement on the site, and other ways to help reduce the cost of the project. One of those ways is to start separating out some of the packages. So one of the packages we've looked at is a building demolition and abatement package. That has been submitted to the SBA. I'm waiting for approval from them to set up bid dates. And then with that, that would be having a contractor come in, abate the existing building, and then demolish the existing building prior to a contractor getting on site. Once that has been done, then the contractor will be able to come in and do the timbering and the clear cutting and grubbing be needed for the new placement of the building. Another thing that helped us with this redesign is the placement of the building on the site. If you recall, the earlier one was closer to the location of the existing school. And because of that location and the subsurface material there, we had to utilize some deep foundations. Meaning that we had to take very long concrete piers and go all the way down to bedrock and do a grade beam. Since our new redesign, we have shifted it down closer to where the greenhouse and the old farmhouse is set. And we'll have to take out some more hillside, but it's about the amount of hillside we're taking out. And I'll show you in some drawings in a couple of minutes. We also looked at reduction of space. One of the areas that we had approached and kind of discussed with both the school building authority and the Department of Ed and Lincoln County Schools was the removal of the smaller physical education space that was designed for the use of the elementary students. But they would then have to utilize the full-size gymnasium. That would be a scheduling thing. So that was a way for us to cut out a large portion of square footage to try to get the building down as small as possible while still providing you the amount of classrooms you need with the size of the square foot that still meets policy. So I do have a small presentation to kind of show you where we are at this point. So looking at the new floor plan, if you remember, the previous floor plan was a single story floor plan. So because of our placement on site, we actually had to flip the building 180 degrees mirror, and then we actually had to create a two-story portion of the building. So this front lower section the whole right-hand side of this, layout pretty much stayed the same with the exception of the elementary classroom or elementary physical education space coming out. So we have the full-size gym. We have the music and room down towards the bottom of the yellow. Let me see my pointer works. Not quite. So, we have a full-size gym here, we have a band room here, we have a art classroom, we have a STEM, we have the general office for the students entering in this location here. We have a dining room kind of adjacent to the gymnasium and the kitchen off to the back. And then we have two ground floor academic spaces. One would be an academic wing here, and that would facilitate your pre-K, K, and first. And then this academic wing here is the bottom half of the two-story portion. And that would be your second, third, fourth, and fifth on this lower level. And then on the second level would be your sixth, seventh, and eighth. So we've taken the science classrooms, placed them here. We have the same science laboratory space that would be more set up for the eighth grade students. And then the sixth and seventh grade students would be able to utilize these larger science classrooms. And then on the day they needed that lab space, they could then figure out the scheduling and flip-flop the other one. And then the rest of it is more traditional classrooms that still meets the program that we had prior. So jumping back real quick. This area did not change. We of course had the physical education space that wasn't here. By us removing that, we kind of worked our magic and kind of tightened this up, reduced our overall square footage of the building. And we also reduced the footprint of the building by going to a two-story portion on this back side here. Then jumping to kind of a site plan, this for reference, this is the existing wastewater treatment plant on the site. So that gives you an idea of where that was. The existing building is in this location right here. But again, that existing building has some structural issues. It needs to be removed from the site, it needs to be torn down. And because of the subsurface material, we discussed moving the building further down on the site, on the second site that the county purchased, because they purchased all the way down to the property where the farmhouse is. So when we did that, we mirrored it to where we got everything, where we have a front drive here. We went with ample parking off to the side, so you have a parent drop off, you have a bus drop off in the front. We have access down to the kitchen area, and then we have the two-story space in the back and the one-story space on the front. So then you're asking, what does that look like? So that's where we go to this next slide. So this is if we were down kind of on the road. Now this main road will be lower because of the type of material we're going to be taking off the site. We're going to have to fill up the floor line to get it to where we can have not as much material taken off, but also getting out of the floodplain. So the building will set up. We have the main entrance here. We have a second drop off one here, and then of course a large parking space. Jumping to the front of the building, this will be kind of where everybody will be entering. We'll have a separate main track, safe, secure vestibule that will direct everybody into the general office, and then the students during their normal hours will go in these double doors. Everybody else will feed into the general office. Kind of looking at the front again, this is that art classroom. We're planning on creating a small outdoor covered space so that it's going good weather days and you're out there and utilize the natural lighting for art projects. Just another shot of the front with the canopy kind of coming out, covering up as much as we can without going excessively far from the front of the building for rainy days. Then kind of twisting a little bit more, seeing that this is actually, there'll be a second entrance over here, and that's where the separate Southern Community Clinic will have their second entrance here. So they have their own separate clinic to be able to support the students at this outside of the typical school clinic. And then jumping back to one more, this is kind of looking at it the other way, so you kind of get the idea that we do have a two-story in the back. But because of how far it's setting back, you won't be standing in front and having a two-story structure. It's more set back, it's kind of equivalent, it's kind of fade back into the hill, and then we'll just have the hillside up behind it. We're currently, I have my design team, they're supposed to be providing me a coordination document this Friday. So then we will take those coordination documents because we had to, with our redesign going to a two-story, of course, our mechanical system had to get adapted to a two-story arrangement. We had to make sure that everything worked structurally, had to make sure that everything worked architecturally. We're doing as much as we can to tighten up and make it as efficient as possible. And then, of course, with that coordination document, we will do a in-office review and also estimating so that we have a better understanding of what this is going to cost when we go to bid. Is it going to be more than what we bid last time? Hopefully it'll be under what we bid last time because that's what we've gone through the redesign. We've reduced our footprint. We've taken out those deep foundations. We've shifted the building on site so that we can reduce those costs. But we don't know what the SBA will offer as supplemental funding. They have offered every other project. They got funded during your cycle, supplemental funding to support their projects. This will be the last one that has bid, that will be moving forward. So hopefully, when we get that number, we can have another sit down with Mr. Luger, Mr. Barnett, Mr. Davis with the SBA and discuss what that supplemental funding will be and how much the SBA will put forth towards this project above and beyond what they've already committed to your project.
Do you have a typical timeline that we might be looking at time when we're gonna do this bidding?
So the building demolition, I'm looking at more early. Once I get approval from them that I can bid the documents, we will get an advertisement. I've been talking with Mr. Lucas, so I know his timeframe. I will follow up with Mr. Miller, who is our architect or our SBA representative tomorrow to see where he's at in reviewing those documents. But that one I'd like to get out as soon as possible so that part can start and be pulled out of this. Once we have got our coordination documents, we will do a in-office review, and we'll do an estimate in office. Once we have made our comments, we'll give those back to our team for them to make corrections. Hopefully, within a week, getting those comments with us getting the coordination set this Friday, hopefully we'll, within a week, have comments back to them and tell them that they need to have comments or corrections back to us within the next week. So I'm probably looking at about a 2-week period from having a set to be able to submit to the school building authority and the Department of Ed, because they also have to review this again before we go out to bid. So once they have reviewed it on a bigger project like this, the SBA allows for 2 weeks of review period. So if we were saying that we're able to submit this to the SBA in 2 weeks from this coming Friday, then they were allowed to have 2 weeks to review it. So we're a month from them saying, okay, you're good, bid. And then once we go to bid this being a larger project, we're looking at falling in that November, December range. So we have to be aware of holidays. But we will schedule it to where we will have a pre-bid meeting. We will conduct that pre-bid meeting. We will allow the contractors enough time to review the site, review the documents, and then of course, figure out where it falls with the holiday schedule of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, so that we don't put something that is hard for them, because some companies, some contractors, some vendors, of course, take longer breaks. They may take off that week between New Year's and Christmas. But hopefully by sometime in early January, we have a bid so that we can have that meeting with the school building authority to discuss the supplemental funding that we have discussed.
Did we look at bidding this,
So there have been discussions. We're definitely going to pull out the furnishing equipment. And then we can discuss whether we want to pull out the mechanical, the plumbing, and the electrical outside of the general package. And the reasoning to do that would be to save roughly the 10% markup that the general would have if they were bidding it as one whole package. Now, when we did this before, it was one whole package, all in one. But this, to be able to save cost, we can consider doing a demolition package, so we'd save money there. We would look at doing a general trade package that would include the additional site work, the building construction, the foundation, the structure, the enclosure, and then look at the separate systems so that we can get separate numbers from that, so that we can help save as much money as we can by doing multiple times. Okay.
Is this school completed architecturally, all the designs you've done?
Yes. We're waiting on our support, our consultants for their final coordination, this Friday. So we had to do architectural redesign, and then we had to provide those documents to them so that they could redesign the systems associated with the new footprint of the building.
How big is your design team?
Architectural or?
Yes, people that works on this and from your firm that designs it.
So I did majority of the design, and then I have draftsmen underneath that they do a lot of the production. And then we also have a consultant that does structural engineering. We have consultants that do mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And that is a separate consultant with multiple people on that.
But on staff, there's just a couple of you makes the
And
design.
that's normal.
Okay, well, if you've been paying any attention, I've been a critic of this whole process.
Okay.
And nothing has alleviated that for me tonight.
Okay.
I'm sitting here, well, let me just be honest with you. The last school that was bid was a replica of Petersburg.
Peterstown.
You had the plans for that school. And yet it dragged out for months and months and months before we bid it. This bid on that school was rejected last May.
It was in May, and we had to go.
It was rejected in May,
Correct.
but we were told, when this new board came on, we were told by you came to the meeting and said, oh, we're gonna bid this thing out early November, early December. Well, we didn't bid it out in February or March. Now I'm hearing that same story. Now, I don't want to be difficult, but if I understand correctly, you're talking now of bidding this thing out late January, February. The school building authority meets a couple of different times in December and March.
Correct.
So
On their quarterly meetings.
the school building authority won't get it until March.
I've had conversations with Mr. Womack and Mr. Neptune, on this project because of where it falls on their quarterly meeting. So they do have a December 13th or 16th quarterly meeting. And then their next one won't be until March, but they said because of this project, along with the other ones, they will make a special discussion once we have come to an agreement of what that supplemental support is.
I just think this is just unacceptable, and if it were my private money, I'd fire your firm and rehire somebody else, to be honest with you. It's dragged on way too long. This is the third year those Duval kids have been in that building over there. I don't know when your original contract was awarded to, your firm, but, I kind of feel like we're an afterthought that, it's just, man, whenever we get to it, we'll take care of you guys. I just don't think that's acceptable. I think what you should be shooting for is to have everything done and submitted to the school building authority in December, not March. And I think that's feasible. You can work on it, call more people in, do what you have to do. But those bids should be out. They should be in. I don't know what process we go through to accept those bids. I'm sure the school building authority will have to do that first. But this all goes to bids and have those bids in and to the school building authority in December, not March. Now, that's where I sit. I'm very unhappy with it. I think we've been, kind of treated like the redheaded stepchild here. I want to see more action out of your firm.
Yes, sir.
I want you to shoot for having the bids done and submitted to the school board authority to act in December.
I'll do what I can based on where we are.
Well,
I can't.
if that doesn't happen, now I'm just speaking for myself. If that doesn't happen, I think that we need to take steps of finding another architectural firm, because you aren't producing.
Okay.
Okay? That's just my opinion.
Any other comments?
Anybody have anything else for Mr. Martin?
Well, it's a little disheartening, not just for us. We're not that important. It's disheartening for our families in that area.
Right.
Because lots of them are thinking about going ahead and going to Kanawha County And we don't want to lose their students. They are our Lincoln County students. So I encourage you to do what you can to speed up what we have.
Yeah, I think we're all unanimous in what Mr. Bell said.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Martin. We appreciate you coming down. Please don't take it personal. I'm doing the county's business here.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
One other thing, could you get the newspaper a rendering of this that is this lady right here? So that she can at least inform the public where we're at.
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. With that, with the principal of Lincoln County High School, Polly Smith, please come forward and give us your local school improvement council report. Good evening, Mr. Principal Smith. Always does my heart good. My former students still here doing stuff.
Inside your folder, you will see, the LSSE report for Lincoln County High School. I'm gonna walk you through it. I don't believe I need to read everything word for word, but I will share, the report with you and give you a chance to ask any questions that you might have. Obviously, to the left, you'll see, our staff, principal. We have assistant principal, we have Megan Hatfield and Joey Ferguson. We have 54.5 professional staff and number of support staff. I assume that was referring to counselors and social workers and such, so that's 8. And obviously, we lost a couple of those due to the issue with our social workers. Apple certified teachers were sitting at around 10. I did speak to our Apple consultant, and she's due to be here November 1st and 2nd. And she's going to start another cohort for our teachers so that we can get more certified teachers, or Apple certified teachers. The enrollment is listed there for you. It's a little deceiving because that's based on Rebus numbers. And sometimes the numbers aren't exactly the way they appear as far as where they are in their cohort due to the number of credits students have earned. We have 236 students who are special education. We have 123 students who are type homeless. We've had 52 suspensions at this time. We are sitting at 900 discipline referrals, which is an average about 22 a day. We're on day 42. Many of those referrals are parties, skips, level 1, still issues that I'm aware of, but the discipline referrals is also a little bit deceptive as well. And we've had 1 expulsion. The narrative of strategies to improve test scores. I do want to hit these. I think these are very important. And this is where our heart is. This is where we are every day and living it. We are committed to analyzing data and allowing that data to drive instruction in the classroom. We are committed to providing a test prep class for our juniors to address deficiencies. We are committed to holding teachers accountable for teaching content standards. We are committed to inspecting what we expect. We are committed to accepting ownership of where we are and being fully transparent. We are committed to emphasizing the importance of high academic achievement and learning. We are committed to planning and conducting professional learning for teachers to increase academic achievement. And we are committed to being lifelong learners and always doing better. Just so happens our motto this year and with our staff is always do better. And that's where we are, always. The end of my weekly update every week is always do better. Better tomorrow than today, better today than yesterday. Our vision / mission, the faculty and staff of LCHS value a safe, structured environment built on caring, supportive relationships. We believe a learning environment that reflects rigor, active student engagement, relevance, real-world application, and differentiation to meet the needs of all students is important. In addition, we will strive to motivate students to accept responsibility for their learning and promote good citizenship in order to create contributing members of society. And that's a vision and mission that was developed with our leadership team here at Lincoln County High School. If you flip the page, you will see that we have 4 goals. These are our strategic plan goals. Goal 1, LCHS students will increase ELA scores by 4%, math scores by 6% on the SAT school day assessment in the 2023-2024 school year. Goal 2, teacher effectiveness will increase through the continuous use of high-yield instructional strategies, effective classroom management strategies, differentiation, increased depth of knowledge, informative assessments in conjunction with higher levels of technology implementation in the 2023-2024 school year. Goal 3, CTE programs will continue to improve simulated workplace to ensure that 70% of the students will meet or exceed workplace readiness standards. And goal 4, LCHS will decrease the percentage of students who are chronically absent by 20%. I want to give you a copy of the last 3 years of our assessment data for the SAT school day. This is pulled from Zoom West Virginia. And if you'll notice there, underneath on the paperwork that I gave you on the strategic plan, the ELA proficiency, we're sitting at 48%. Our math proficiency is at 18%. I want you to notice over the last 3 years, we started in 2021 school year, we were sitting at 40% ELA, and we were sitting in math at 10% proficient. You'll notice the growth that took place through the next year. We raised 40 to 44%, and then in math, 10 to 60%. And then last year on our scores, we once again went up from 44 to 48% in ELA, and then 16 to 18% in mathematics. So you'll see that steady increase as we really focused on what we were doing here as a staff, and you can see that steady climb. And we're really, really encouraged by these numbers. I will point out the science. Typically, we don't, we focus more on the ELA and math. You'll notice that is an increase as well in science from 1822 to 29. College and career readiness, the things that we do here, we have AP courses. We have AP US history currently and AP government. We did have our AP stats class till Mr. Josh Barnett left this. It's bigger, brighter pastures and all that good stuff. So it's unfortunate that we lost that one. That's where we're sitting right now for AP. We have a lot of dual credit opportunities for our kids. We work through Marshall for English 101 and 102. We have a humanities dual credit for both semesters, and we also have psychology for both through Marshall. And then we also have numerous dual credit courses through Southern. That's with our Early College Academy. Remember last year we graduated 9 students who graduated with their high school diplomas and an associate's degree. This year we have 17 seniors in the program along with 15 juniors. And obviously we add our sophomores at the end of the school year. We have test prep classes to prepare students for college entrance exams and of course the SAT school day. We have 10 CTE programs here. We have CTE electives where our 9th and 10th graders can go into those classes and learn more about our CTE programs to hopefully choose one of those. I will also mention that with the Early College Academy kids, don't forget that we worked with Southern this year. So if a student wanted to be in Early College Academy and also wanted to be in CTE, they didn't have to choose. We flipped it so that our seniors are in the afternoon for CTE. So the seniors who are in Early College Academy get to take those courses in the morning and vice versa for juniors. So we were able to work with them and they were wonderful to work with. Obviously, we do college and trade school visits. That's been a big push, especially with Europe, which I'll mention also later on through here with our celebrations. Organizational excellence. We have provided staff and student handbooks. And I believe that in those handbooks, we have expectations are clearly defined. I send weekly updates, obviously, weekly, to our staff members and to our service personnel, kind of letting them know what's going on during the week, my expectations, things to remember, things to think about, things to ponder, and so forth. And with our motto, always do better. We had a lot of professional learning opportunities for our staff. We had a great day. On our last, what day was that? Our last day with just teachers. Daniel Rod came from SREB, and we had fabulous professional learning activity here for our staff. And we're working on thinking about that class time and that lesson and how maybe some teachers need help with the opening and some teachers need help with that middle part and some teachers need help with what's at the end. And we're going to be committed to each department's going to select one of those areas where they're going to work and commit to improving that. We're going to start instructional rounds this year, which I'm super excited about, where teachers get to get into teachers' classrooms and they get to see what's going on and get a lot of good ideas from their peers to collaborate, to think, oh man, that really worked. I love that strategy. I've never used it before. We're going to start, we want to try that. So we're going to do a lot of things with that. October 27th will be our professional learning on instructional rounds. So we're super excited about that. Obviously, I have mentioned SREB. They come here to help us and have been partners with us when we were identified as a CSI school. And I was so thankful that the State Department allowed Daniel Rock to be with us again this year. He's been a great resource for us and has worked really well with our staff. Obviously, not only locally, but we attended the national conference last year, which was amazing. A lot of great sessions where we learned different ideas, different instructional strategies, perhaps different things with CTE. That was a big push in our in the SREB conference in Orlando. So super exciting things there. Our students do morning announcements. They share information with our student body every day. They give shout outs to students. They update us on who won the ball game last night, give us an inspirational quote, and so forth. We have walkthroughs and classroom visits. Mr. Barnett and Mr. Davis asked that we have at least committed 5 e-walks a week per admin. And what we also do, we complete our 5-2 e-walk, and then we have it's an old-fashioned memo pad that we carry around that has a carbon. And so when I go into a classroom and I see something great happening, or I have a question about something, or I'm curious about something, I get my little memo pad out and I write a little note on there, tear it out and leave it behind. So they get that immediate feedback. And I have record and documentation of the classrooms I've been in and how many I've been in. And that's not just for me, but it's also for Megan Hadfield and also for Joey Ferguson. Last year we started Panther Press postcards. It's always good to hear great things about your kids. And so teachers are asked to fill out at least one Panther Press postcard a week. And we have some teachers who fill out their one, and we have some that might put in 3 or 4. And the more the merrier. If we send those through the mail, we address them and send them out there so the kids are getting those. And parents are getting those and they can see those. I don't have Facebook. But I do, some people will send things whenever a kid gets one at home and they're excited about it. They'll take a picture and post it on there and say, the parent might say, hey, look what I heard from Licking County High School. So we love that program that we're doing right now. Obviously, we have LCHS, Facebook, Instagram, and Schoology, where we put our announcements and recognition. Celebrations this year, obviously the data speaks, and that chart that I gave you showing those scores and that growth that we've had over the last 3 years. School Digger, which is ranks the schools, whether PK or PK through 5 or PK through 8 or high schools or true middle schools. And with high schools, we know that it varies year to year how many we have. It seems like over the course of since I've been here in 2010. And we kind of stayed in the hundreds. That's where we were. And we've worked really, really hard. And we've come from the hundreds. The year after COVID, I believe we were 89. And this year we were 45th. So we're definitely moving in the right direction, and we are celebrating that this year. We still celebrate our early college academy. We still feel really, really good about that. We are celebrating Gear Up this year as well, because not only do we have Gear Up, which is that federally funded program where we're getting kids exposure to colleges and trade schools, and what are you going to do after you leave high school? Mary Mullins does a fabulous job with that program. We've added a 9th grade sponsor who is Bill McLeod. He's jumped on board this year. They're doing a fabulous job. They're planning trips. They're working with kids. They're staying after school to plan activities. So it's a great program. And of course, last but certainly not least, our athletic facility that we have, we are certainly celebrating that. It's super enjoyable to be able to be out there, not just for football games, but soccer games and pep assemblies. And we're super excited about that. Next page, we have our PSAT exam that's scheduled actually for October the 25th. So don't have any data for you yet on how we are with our juniors. Obviously, we have testing in the spring for our freshmen and sophomores, and we use that PSAT data to figure out where they are, where those deficiencies are, so that we can get them better prepared for the SAT. And I should have put on here, and I forgot, but we also link those scores to what's called Khan Academy. And so teachers are using Khan Academy in their classrooms to try to really work with trying to help them with those deficiencies, narrow that gap. And we're using that, and we've already had a training. We trained on our last PL day in the morning with Khan Academy. Curricular focus, I kind of did a CTE focus. It's, obviously linked to one of our goals in our strategic plan. We have our NOCTI pretest, November the 8th and the 9th. We're going to analyze that data just like we do with PSAT. We're going to look at it. We're going to figure out where our students are deficient. We're going to have a digital study guide for those kids. We're going to really push our teachers, our CTE teachers, to look at content standards. What are you teaching? What's in the test? What do you need to know? Because it's just important that we get those kids certified and those scores are where they need to be so that they demonstrate workforce readiness. And then obviously that NOCTI exam is in the spring. Our SAT school day, we have our test prep for English and math. Our juniors test on the 25th. Freshmen and sophomores will test in April, and the SAT school day is also in April. With PLCs and leadership team, we have departmental PLCs. We analyze data, we collaborate, we share artifacts. We might have teachers, like if we're trying to up depth of knowledge in our lessons. So we might have an activity in PLCs, like last year we would have them bring artifacts. This is a lesson I did on Poe short stories, and these are some of the activities that I completed. And this activity is a depth of knowledge 2, but over here I've raised it to a depth of knowledge 4. And so they start looking at examples from other classrooms so that they can increase that depth of knowledge and feel secure in that. We also had teachers bring examples to leadership team. And we even share cross-curricular. So we can kind of see and think in our head, well, what's that going to look like in a science class? And what might that look like in a math class? So we did that sharing also with leadership team. We create common assessments. That's accountability, not just for our teachers, but for our students. We grow together. That's what we do in PLCs. We grow and we reflect. I anticipate in our instructional rounds that we might have some PLCs that are linked to the groups where we're going to observe. Our first set of instructional rounds will be geared toward specific content. So English teachers will be doing rounds within their department. But our second set of rounds that will, take place around probably February, we're going to kind of do cross-curricular. And so there might be a need to then meet in PLCs with that instructional group so that they can, once again, learn from one another and share in that time. And that collaboration time in the morning is from 7:30 until 8 o'clock. Leadership team, kind of do a leadership team, what you do in PLCs. We work together. We share concerns. We brainstorm ideas. We think about our strategic plan. Where are we? Do we need to tweak something? Because obviously that strategic plan is a fluid document. When things aren't going well or when we need to change something, we can go in there and change it. say, this isn't working, we're gonna do something else now. So we just grow together there as well. It's made up of administrators, counselor, social worker, technology innovation specialist, department heads, and members at large. Current culture and climate. So a culture and climate where students lead. Some examples, obviously student council, CTE, the SAD program, extracurricular, behavioral expectations are communicated, traditions exist here. We do excited about our meet and treat next week, that's right. That's gonna be Tuesday night. We also, of course, had our tailgates, that's CTE tailgates, those are so fun. Be excited to do something like that again. We have our family game night, which is tonight. Bill and I are trying to get through this so we can get stare at kids before they leave. And then, we have breakfast with Santa that we're doing. It was a kind of an old tradition that kind of went away when COVID hit, and we brought it back last year, and we're excited to do that again. We already are planning that as student council, our Christmas band concert, et cetera, et cetera. Academic expectations have increased here. All students can learn, and we believe that, and student engagement is expected. So needs or additional assistant requested. Well, what needs have you previously asked for and received? Well, we really needed another counselor, and we got that, which has been a super help to us. Unfortunately, we have a vacancy right now, but we hope to fill that. Because the work that they do in the counseling center is so vital, and it's a lot. And so we needed that, and we received it. And we were super excited. Once again, we have our athletic facility that we've been hoping for years. Is that right, Mr. Schneider? And so we're still super excited about that. What have you previously asked for and still needs attention? We've asked for the need for an additional administrator. I still feel like we need another person in the building, an administrator. That would be fabulous. And it seems like every year we talk about a security booth at the entrance of the school. Whenever we're looking at the plans for Duval, you have that area where they walk in and they're still confined in that area. We don't, I thought we should put that on there. We don't really have that here. Yes, it's locked here as soon as they have to be buzzed in at the front door, but once they get in, they're in. There's not another line of defense. And so that, it's something that we might need to think about doing. I don't know how that would work, but it would be great that because you never know, I'm leaving the building or our kids leaving the building, checking out, someone's coming up, they don't need to buzz in. They can be in the building, so. Something that we need. And then when we think security, I'm sure you've been in Capitol Midland High School, and as you drive down the hill, there's a booth there, and on the arm, you have to stop. You're not getting on that campus on a school day without stopping, verifying who you are, why you're there. And we have one access in really, it's out here, and it would sure be fabulous to be able to have somebody in give us a little bit more security. Last but not least, on the last page. I'm not going to read all this to you. We have our LSIC chair, Shauna Donahue. We have our teachers, our parents, service staff, other LSIC members, business partners. And if you'll notice there, I do have the future meetings. We've already met once this year, and we've already scheduled our next 3 meetings, one in November, February, and then April. Last, here at the very bottom of the page, we have student safety practices. Of course, we conduct fire drills. It's great that we have our school resource officer, Jennifer's here with us now, and that's fabulous. Excuse me, we have a crisis response plan, obviously, that we've worked on and we are required to do. This year, I made sure that we have one of those. We have a clear sleeve that those go in. They're in every classroom. They're throughout the buildings, and the stuff is here. And they don't know what to do when something happens, it's right there, they can reach for it, they hang on every wall in every classroom. We've gone through those, we've discussed them. Last year, we practiced our active threat drills, which were vital. We have increased supervision in the mornings, which has helped a lot as well. Afternoons, we have teachers out front, we have teachers in the back as students are dismissing. Obviously, teachers at their doors as well through class changes. And we use the Stop It app as well. So if there's a concern, if a student has a concern, he or she can place them on the Stop It app. It's confidential, it's anonymous, that they can give us some information sometimes that we don't know about. So before, I do have one little thing to give you that I did forget to. This is just some data on our chronic absenteeism as well. So with chronic absenteeism, if you'll look there, this graph actually goes back to 2019. This once again came from Zoom as well. Prior to COVID, all right, we were sitting at, that 18% where we had no absent issues. 36% of our kids need attention, and we had 47% who were chronically absent. Now you'll notice in the year of COVID, you're thinking, oh my goodness, 42%? What's up with that? Well, if you remember that year, we had groups coming. We had a group A that came 2 days a week, a group B that came 2 days a week. So it was alternating. And even though it was COVID, they were sitting in classrooms with like 10 kids. They had masks on, they were spaced apart. And we actually had quite a few kids here on their days. And I guess it kind of was like it was the best of both worlds. They probably thought because they could come and enjoy and then have a day off. They enjoy having a day off. So anyway, so it is very interesting to see that. Obviously, we really struggled after COVID. Kids struggled to get back in the swing of things. What do you mean I have to come to school every day? I kind of like that schedule we were on last year. So you'll see that we only had 6% of our kids with no absent issues, like, are you kidding me? And then 29% needed attention, a whopping 65% were considered chronically absent. So we've been working on that for 3 years, and we saw that trend right after COVID, and we put some attendance policies in, like the no more than one to go policy that we worked with. Just trying incentives to be here. We linked it to our semester exams, trying to get kids to be here and be in school, et cetera. So it is trending downward. You'll notice that. So right now, our goal was to be 20% less, then we're not quite there. We are 55% last year, and we're sitting at 39% today. That changes every day. Every day it changes. So that's going to fluctuate. It'll be interesting to see where we land at the end of the year. But it is a struggle, and it's something that we're continually watching because we can't teach our kids if they hear. So I know I said a lot there, maybe too fast, but have any questions for me? I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, I do. I won't ask when you graduated, so I don't want to date you here.
1996.
Okay. You said it yourself. Okay.
Yes.
I was assistant principal.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
When I came to Duval as principal,
Mhm.
I had 767 kids in a building designed for 500
Mhm.
and one assistant principal and one secretary. You've got 68 more kids than I had in a beautiful facility, even though I haven't toured it all. And we were going to do that last year, we didn't get that done. So I'm going to hold you to this year, we're going to take you on a tour. But to address the thing about your additional staff that you kind of semi-asked for,
Sure.
that's probably not going to float with me. I don't know about anybody else, but,
That's okay.
and I might add, I had 2 counselors. But we're always looking at being overstaffed. And from my experience, that, it's elementary schools is where I have made my bones about that's where education starts. And your high school scores will get better when your incoming 9th graders are on a higher level. So we've got to get those elementary scores up and cutting staff there is not what we want to do. So I just didn't want to surprise you. That's where I'm sitting.
It's not the first year.
The figures, Mr. Snyder mentioned a few weeks ago about school day were about 45. And that's always a snapshot in time. And I'm not sure how they scored that or came up with that score, but it's a good trend that you're going. I think it was Mr. Snyder said We need to find out what they're doing over there, bring that score down. Now, even though we shouldn't get the lyrics about this, being ranked 45th, and having, 48% on English or ELA, you all call it now, and 18% on math, that's nothing to write home about.
Well, I would agree with you, Mr. Bell.
Imagine what those other schools are. That's 46 through 114.
You know, I tried to find the state, average, before I came to, internet's been out for 2 days, and I went to look for it today, just so that I could reference that. But it's still without, still here?
Yes.
Do you know the,
State
average.
average, state average for math is 21%.
It's so much.
So we're not much lower than that.
21% in math.
Straight average.
State average. Now, I'll be honest, Kim, I'm not happy with that. I'm not gonna sit here
I know you're not.
and, oh, yay, we're 18%.
Understand, nothing I'm saying is being critical.
Oh, I understand.
The only way we get better
Sure,
is to concentrate on where we need to get better.
right.
As those elementary scores come on, you're gonna get better. That's just a common fact. But the thing that really jumps out at me on this score, and I find it concerning, let's do that, is that you have 17 seniors in early college academy, I guess, taking those college courses. And the board is paying for that, I suppose. 17 out of 152 kids.
Well, Southern does have criteria for getting into that program. They have them in, so
Yeah, that's my point. We've got 17.
that's not to say that some may be qualified who chose not to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some kids who chose not to be in early college academy, which is hard for me to understand. I said, you know, since we started it 3 years ago, you know, had my daughter's graduated from here, and have they had early college academy? They didn't go to college academy, because that would have saved us how many thousands of dollars once they started college.
That leaves roughly 89% of your senior class being left to the CTE areas. You've got 10 CTE courses, which takes juniors and seniors both, I suppose. And I don't know what your enrollment is seniors in those classes, but I would say it's probably not very high. So that leaves probably about 75% of our kids you'll be handing a diploma to come May, and they're not qualified for anything.
No, we have, Megan, how many seniors do we have in our CTE programs?
I don't know the
exact
number, but I would say at least.
Depending on the program, but about 15 to 20 per program,
Yeah.
at least.
And 10, 15 or 20% per.
15 to 20 kids per program,
Okay.
different kids. per
Okay.
program.
Usually by the time the students, they're 2-year programs. They're
Right.
usually the second year of your seniors.
Mhm.
So they've already been in the program for one portion of it. So they take the completer part of the program their senior year. So your numbers are not going to fluctuate here. They are looking at probably, anywhere between 15, 17, 20, depending on the program, like the SET program is based, and maybe as high as 33.
Talking about numbers or
Numbers.
So what he's trying to figure out is how much students at CTE we have graduating who are certified to do something. And then how many college bound kids we have, and then our overall population. Put those two together, how much of our population do we have?
Graduated without CTE or college.
Yes, yeah.
It's not as large as you think it is. I actually have numbers on my phone that show, that's one of the things that we're pushing with the workforce readiness and really looking at those NOCTI scores. We're transparent here. We don't try to hide that. We had some programs that didn't do super well in CTE last year. I'm sure Mr. Barnett has looked at that. We had a few programs that did not score. Kids who were in those programs were not successful on that NOCTI exam. And so that's why we're pushing that strongly this year. We are really going to dive into that data. But when you think of like sitting in, I'm just gonna walk down the hallway. Seth, how many seniors do you have?
On the day, probably about 40.
About 40. Otto is probably sitting,
Well.
no, seniors,
You got 40 seniors.
yes.
We got
Otto,
700 kids across the back.
yeah, Otto probably only has around 10, okay? Welding is a huge program, we're saying probably close to 20. Construction, 20 seniors. JRTC, I'm gonna say with seniors, maybe 6 to 7. We go to Joanna's program, she has, sitting around 17 or 18 seniors. Come on up to, our marketing program this year for seniors, I think we have about 10-ish, 8 to 10. Mr. Harshbarger's program, I think we have around 10 in there as well. These are just seniors. And then we come up the hallway to early childhood education. We have around 12 to 14. And then our seniors for law and public safety is small. It's only sitting at around 2 or 3. Those are all seniors in those programs.
How many seniors?
Well, like I said, it shows 152.
Yeah.
We have more in that cohort,
Yeah.
but we still have a ton of our students are running through the CTE programs.
Get that exact data and give that to Mr. Barnett so he can share that with the board.
Absolutely.
We're making some assumptions at the board.
That we don't really know
Probably
anything
don't.
that he's going.
That we have made a commitment to increase CTE. We can't do that until Duval gets out of that central office, it's in their own building. And then we can extend CTE over there. But that data is very important. If you can get that to Mr. Barnett, and he can share that with us, we'll know exactly what we're doing. But we know it's fluctuating year to year. I understand that, but it's a good sound like.
I will tell you that, this has to be really committed to working on these CTE programs, looking at this, the novelty pilot, or not the pilot, but the pre-test. That'll give those students a study guide, that'll give them everything they're weak on, they'll tell them. The data, for instance, I'm going to say is that even, I'm just going as an example, you know, Mr. Neal knows, you know, Mr. Neal's classes are weak on safety, or they're weak on, you know, small engines, or they're weak on, it'll actually break it down enough to where that can be, that's where the area of concentration goes. So, you know, it can be done. I can clearly see by the use of this practice test and by what they're doing, their score jumping from 48, 50% proficient to up into 70s. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else? Ms. Smith? Thank you, Principal Smith. We appreciate it. Thank you to the staff for coming out and supporting her and us in this endeavor. Thank you.
I'll just keep on keeping on.
It's always been better, but you are.
I know it, and I'm proud of it.
At this time, Heather Gillenwater. Sorry you had to wait so long, Ms. Gillenwater.
You heard some good stuff, didn't you?
I think I remember.
So I'm not a politician and I'm a public speaker. I'm an accountant. So I have my review. And I'm not actually going to go through and read everything that I wrote down. I'm not going to bore you guys with every piece of code, which I can leave it for you. I can read it if you guys want more detail, but I think it's good to summarize it because we've been here for a long time. So basically, I understand attendance is very important. I understand that you have to be in school to learn. You have to be in the building. I get that. So I know why there's a chronic absentees an issue. I know that there's a problem regarding that. And I'm not here to address that. I'm here to address the students that are leaving for a couple hours a day. They start in school and they're going to an appointment. Or they're in an appointment and they're coming back. I don't feel like these students should be penalized the same as someone that's just not showing up, that has unexcused absence. I think that if you have an excused absence, I think if it's covered by a doctor's note, a dental note, an orthodontist, I mean, just about every kid nowadays has braces. So that's, I don't know, every 3 or 4 weeks, orthodontist appointments. For example, my son got injured in football. So he's going to physical therapy twice a week for 6 weeks. So if we go by the current policy, he's gonna be considered chronically absent because he's gonna have part of the days that he's in that therapy, most of the day he's gonna be in school, but he's gonna miss several hours here and there. Because unfortunately, the physical therapist cannot schedule him, all the time outside of school hours. Dental appointments, same exact thing. And so in summary, I just want these kids to not be punished for having to go to doctor appointments, not be punished to have to go to dental appointments. If you have a documented excused absence, I feel that it should be excused, it should be forgiven, it should be overlooked, because you're not just showing up, you're literally going to school. And the whole thing that sparked this is because, parents, we are our child's biggest advocate. So when I found out my daughter was not going to be able to go to the career fair, I was infuriated. I was upset. So like, she was 4 days. I said, but 3 of those days she was here most of the day. She had to leave because she had an appointment. And we got that squared away, and that's great. But if this policy still remains in place, she's not gonna be able to go to a prom. That's a huge milestone. And she's not someone, and it's not a state policy, because state code, you can accept excused absences. It's a Lincoln County additional policy that was put in place, because I specifically asked that question to the State Board of Education. I said, is it against state code for Lincoln County to accept excused absences as excused absences? And they said, no, it's not. So I'm a concerned parent for all the kids who have a reason to be out of school. I'm not saying they're just not showing up. I'm saying these are kids, good students who want to be here, but they have things come up. They have a documented reason. It's, an excuse, a doctor's excuse, and it should be an excuse. So in closing, I will share with you this one thought. So like I said, I agree, attendance is very important. But this, I'm not trying to say, let students just not come to school. That's not my point at all. But we're using reasoning and logic. I want you to think about this for a minute. So a teacher, or perhaps one of you guys, are absent due to an illness, or you have a doctor's appointment or a dental appointment. Are you excused from that appointment? Excused to go to that appointment? Meaning, well, you're not fired, aka the truancy officer's not coming to get you. I said, or are you actually excused to go to that appointment? Meaning, you're not fired, but you get the benefit of being paid. So you're not there, but you're getting paid as well. And I think students should have the same opportunity. If, I'm pretty sure the latter is the case for all of us. Teachers, staff, if we all get paid sick leave, documented, of course, why are we holding our children, our students to a higher standard than what we ourselves are being held to? Because most people.
Can I just ask you
Yes.
one thing, to get this clear? Let's have the principal at LCHS and your child has dentist appointment in Charleston. You come to
All
get
my
her.
appointments are in Charleston.
Okay, you come to get her at 10 o'clock to make an 11 o'clock dental appointment up in Charleston. And it lasts for a couple of hours and you take her. You even bring her back, like at 3 or something, but maybe a half an hour before you get out. Then you're saying to us that just the hours that she was gone should be excused because she had a doctor's appointment for that particular thing.
Yes.
Yes.
And then those students, they're gonna make their work out.
Yeah.
My kids make their work out.
And ask their teachers,
Yes,
to give
they
them
have-
whatever assignments they need.
Right, so they get the assignment.
And that doesn't appear in their policy.
That is not in the policy. And actually, in addition to that, so not only could they miss prom or not be able to walk to graduation, but their final exam, then instead of 10% of their grade becomes 20%. So in essence, these children are being punished for having an excuse.
They have an excused absence, but it's appearing as an unexcused.
Exactly, they're being treated just like children who are not handing in
And
notice.
okay,
Yeah. And
I
that's,
needed to get that clear in
yeah,
my
and
head.
that's just very frustrating to me. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm out of my comfort zone.
Well, maybe we need to look at that and look at it with a lawyer, look at it with a specialist and see what we can do.
Well, state code, with policy, where we want to. Says if you're in school 74.7% of the day, and that counts as full days attendance, of course. 50% of the days half day attendance.
Right, but. there's-
So, but what you have to remember is you're not chronically absent until you have missed 18 days. So you can miss 17.5 days and not be considered chronically absent for a year. If you take all the appointments, sicknesses, it would take a while to get 17.5 days, especially if you're bringing them in for a half a day.
But are they doing that? This is-
We'll see her first school.
This is, so this,
Okay.
so that's, no, the state code has that percentage, has the percentage in there. But what's happening though is that, the excused and unexcused absences right now by county are being treated the same. I don't know any other county that's doing the same thing. But the thing is, you know, if you're making your work up, I mean, regardless of how much it is, what if you get the flu? What if you get COVID and you're out for a week? Do you want kids coming in with fevers because they're feeling like they can't miss, that they're not gonna be able to go to conference at the end of the year? I mean, what if you're?
And there are some long-term illness. And honestly, there probably should be an attendance committee that looks at those individually for each school. But again, 17.5 days, that's a lot of days.
Depending on. So right now, my son, it's the beginning of the year, he's gonna miss 12 days. So if he was a senior, I mean, not 12 days, but he's gonna have 12 excuses. He goes to the dentist, he has to go to, you know, if he has to get an MRI done on his knee, that's in Huntington. So I mean, he's gonna have several appointments, he will be here, but that's easy right enough if you get the flu. I mean, I'm not anticipating my kids losing that, but my daughter is chronically absent, and she was here for a majority of the time. However, like she said, if they start off with the school day, I mean, an hour drive to whatever appointment, you're there for an hour and a half, and then you drive back. An excuse absence should be excused regardless.
Stillwater, I have always advocated that there should be no such thing as excused and unexcused absences, just absences, period. Because it doesn't really make, if you think about it, if you're going to go fishing up Mother River Dam all day long, you've missed that day of instruction. But if you're in the hospital, you still miss that same day of instruction. Now, the
There's a
issue
difference there.
for me is not whether excused or unexcused. But the issue is what happens when you miss a number of days? What is the penalty that we're talking about? I understood the problem that you had a couple of weeks ago that I hope we got resolved. Where your daughter was, I think it was your daughter.
Yeah.
Wasn't going to be allowed to go on an educational trip. Because she had missed 4 days or 10% or whatever it was of the time that she had been in
It
school.
wasn't full day.
Yeah, so I understand that, that was the penalty. And Mr. Barnett said, wait a minute, you shouldn't be penalized to go on an educational trip to Marshall University. That's part of your days of instruction. But what penalty do we have when a student misses that number of days that we have, whatever the policy that was prescribed? What is the penalty?
If they write, if the excuses are, or if the absences are unexcused, then it becomes a truancy issue. That's the difference. And with the difference between chronically absent, the way the state recognizes chronically absent, there is regardless of excuse. Now, the county absence policy is what Gilmore was referring to earlier. And we readdressed that to where I said if it's an extension of the classroom, or when I hear the word field trip, I think I'm taking a group of kids to the mall. Yeah. To watch a movie, that's field trip. When I hear a co-curricular trip, such as to Marshall University, to a job fair, or to a college fair, or to the Clay Center, if there's a special project going on, or, you know, Mr. Messinger's carpentry class going to West Hamlin to rebuild the gazebo, or the welding class coming over to the central office to work on the arch. Those are all extensions of the classroom. Okay, that to me, you know, as long as the student can keep up, if they've got doctor's excuses, that they've been out, they're medically fragile, then they still need to go on those things. That's part of the class.
So what's the policy in question, the county policy or the state policy?
Policy.
Policy.
Yeah.
You can have an excused absence according to the state. Now, what you're referring to is a state policy for your, chronic absences. Okay, that's the state policy. State does not say that you cannot accept excused absences. In fact, it has a whole list of excused absences. Doctor and dental notes are listed in there. I have a copy of the attendance policy right here.
Those are actually coded in our Weaver system.
Yeah.
Either absent, excused, or unexcused. That's what we're talking, and that's what's pulled, when you pull that data, it says to us that was either excused absence or unexcused.
Right.
I'm thinking that is the school, or you guys are aware, because the school attitude that said, if you do this, then you're not gonna be able to do that. I think it's a school policy that you're dealing with. I don't think it's a county policy.
But it's, okay, so maybe it is, well, I
It's a school policy.
That's what we need to, you know, to look at. It's a policy.
Bill shook his head.
With your son playing football, being hurt and having to go to therapy.
yes.
Makes that a school issue. I want to make a suggestion here, rest of the board. Mr. Snyder is the newest, is the most recent person that's dealt with this kind of thing. I would like Mr. Snyder to take on the role of talking to Mr. Barnett and Mr. Davis and iron this problem out.
Well, I think I was talking to Bill just now. He told me that their PLCs did add to the attendance policy.
Leadership department.
The leadership team.
Here at the school.
Here at the school.
Yeah.
Yes. And to the issues come from the school.
It's not coming from us. It's the school.
That's a discussion that Mr. Barnett
Should have with the
principal
principal.
be having. Give us some time to work on
Yeah.
this. Okay, we're sympathetic.
We want to do something about it, we just didn't know exactly what.
Where it's coming from.
But we know that helps us a little bit, and we know how to kind of attack the problem.
Right.
I appreciate you bringing this out, and I still hope my conviction that they asked, but I understand their circumstances.
But because I have kids in school, I mean, I'm like,
You're their advocate.
you should be able to go to prom.
Yes.
Injured, and you know, have to go to.
I haven't seen that policy, but I don't know why he wouldn't. If that's, you know, in my humble opinion, you know, if he's injured or he's ill and it's documented, I don't know why.
Or he has a doctor's appointment or something medical like that. We need to look at that.
If it's 10 days of unexcused or excused absences, you don't go to prom.
So give us some time to work
Yeah.
on this. And Barnett to get with the.
It's like each side wants to.
I haven't seen all the things.
Yeah, and that's why.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I actually.
Okay. Moving right along, item 4. I'll ask for a motion in a second if there's no discussion. Approval of the October 3rd meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second. 2 seconds.
Here. Oh, school's not, my kids.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, unanimous. Bring us to the administrative section. Is there any discussion? And I'll just comment that you all got a lot of work done when I wasn't with you. That's. We may have found out there would be a lot of log jam ones.
Even like me to go over item G.
Items G. Yes, the one you talked about last week.
They're about the salaries, Ken.
I have nothing on that, but you go. Just a question for clarification, we're going to rescind those first 3 policies.
Now, what three pages? C, D, and E?
Okay. You're going to rescind those, are we replacing those policies in today?
I believe they've all been put in.
I'm sorry.
They're new.
They were trying to combine it into one other policy.
Okay.
Yes, instead of
Okay.
two.
All right, we'll rescind those. Uh, I just have a comment, maybe a concern. Under item D, the PRO officer.
Is that the new one?
Yeah,
The new one?
I did a lot of research in the last 3 or 4 months on PRO officer. And believe it or not, the statistics show that PRO officers, that really make a difference one way or the other. Now, I'm sure there's a circumstance or two where it would be important. I certainly want one here. But I'm concerned with how this officer will be used. I do not want the officer to become another assistant principal, doing
This.
school administration discipline.
I can tell you that before she started, Mr. David Atkins, myself, Mrs. Smith, and the officer met and went over those items, and went over the expectations and what they were to do and what they weren't to do.
Yeah, I think the lesson that we had, that was not a clear understanding. We need that clear understanding. I don't personally, I have a concern when the school PRO officer is a law enforcement person within the school, writing tickets, finding parents. I think that needs to just
Not
be
be
looked
there.
at. That's just not the role that
No.
a PRO officer should do.
That's not part of the.
That's not to be.
I'm going to trust Mr. Barnett has that all worked out, but, that is a concern. Okay, any other questions? We have a discussion on any of this.
Motion that we accept presented.
The story makes a motion to accept. Do I have a second? Wilson seconds. All in favor of accepting the administrative items, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that's unanimous. Takes us to the finance section.
Motion to approve.
The story,
Yes.
Second.
Wilson second.
No, Dana.
Snyder, each, okay, Snyder. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Bring this personnel section. I just got a comment. It's just a doggone shame that Bob Watts, the track coach, is going to resign just when he gets the track. That when we first started discussing building this facilities, my wife watched the thing on the streaming, and she said, whatever you do, you build that guy a track. I said, okay, we will.
Yeah, we did.
And, no, it's not there yet.
Oh, no.
But it's
on its way.
it's on its way. But I just want to commend him for his work here. That I know he struggled under bad conditions throughout the years. Any discussion?
I make the motion that we approve.
Wilson makes a motion to approve the personnel.
I'll second.
Burns seconds. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? And it's unanimous. We probably can mark the Duval update off. Anybody have any other concern? And mark it off for discussion this evening.
Yes.
Anybody have any other thing?
I got something for you. I'm just kidding.
No time to levity here. We got a lot. We got a couple. I'm gonna ask Mr. Barnett, I'm sorry.
You know, we're super.
I have to see that our next meeting. I've been taking photos, so the next time we have a meeting in the county office, and that may be 3 or 4 weeks now, we're out on this public hearing. But I'm gonna ask if you have your instructional directions, come forth and with the I-ready results, for us for the last 3 years. My reasoning behind that is, I want to see what the trend is and whether we've got the diagnostic tool, but I want to see whether we have an implementation tool to take those results and make improvements for kids. It goes back to the grading policy that I keep harping on. So if you wouldn't mind having her on hand and having her give, she may even, besides county results, she may pull out a couple of schools that have those results for the last 3 years for us to take a look at. Couple of other things that it's getting, summer's not that far away. We have summer schools in the past, and I think we have missed in the past a great opportunity to provide some real instructional service for those kids in those early grades, to help improve their proficiencies. I'd like to see the plans, what you all have summer school coming up, and we can discuss that. Mr. Wilson sent me a thing the other night that, I thought was a great idea. Was 6th graders attending, a camp, or I don't know if it was a week or 2 or 3 days. They were going to the Boy Scout camp up at the New River up there. And, all 6th graders from the county going to that 2 or 3 days, at least those that wanted to go. And it was an outdoor adventure type camp. It's, everything about it seemed great, but, I'd like to take a look at that.
I've sent for information on that. They also do day camps. They do just individual day camps.
That's a long way to go. Day rides.
In this area.
But,
Not only that, I mean, that's great, I mean, just being able to participate even at, Fayetteville area. But I'd like to see some economic development of our old 4-H camp here at Bud River.
Yes, yeah,
Or we don't have our own,
and have it in,
sciences.
yeah,
They've got some coordination.
yeah, and those same classes.
I
Yeah.
think that's good. And the last thing that I want to bring up is, when I saw the thing with Coach Watt of the track team, it started me thinking about coaching, head coaching. I don't know the policy. I think I can just about guess. But wouldn't it make sense that if we hire a head coach in basketball or football or what track or whatever it is, that head coach hires his staff, his assistants?
Or we recommend.
I don't know the law on that data. Maybe.
I think I do recommend.
They recommend, but they can't hire. Yeah,
We might want to look at the policy that says,
We usually go for the recommendation.
yeah.
So
I don't.
if you're a head coach, you don't want to get stuck with the last group of people that didn't succeed.
And most of them actually, when I know we had after a couple of times, they actually talked to us.
Since they come to and play.
And they actually stepped down.
We probably need a strict policy. I doubt that we have a policy.
No.
We probably should tell them. That's all I have.
I'm
Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I'm asking this real quick, thinking about the, Ms. Smith mentioned the booth down here at the bridge.
Yeah,
We definitely do need one, as we're looking at this funding for the facility here,
yeah,
one of the items, is ticket booth.
Yeah.
I think it would be good to dual purpose, a ticket booth, make a nice entrance down there. You can accept money for anything that's happening inside the facility, plus have your PRO officer there during the days. Just something to think about.
Did we have a grant, the last PRO officer put a grant in for taking roof down there?
Yeah, but I don't think we ever heard back from him.
Probably got,
I don't think
He
about
did,
right.
because we never heard back from him.
And then just one other thing, now I don't have a resolution or an answer for this, but I was thinking about it as we were thinking about the booth at the bridge. That's the only way in and out of here.
Yeah,
Unless you're walking. Yes.
that's not a good idea.
All you do is take out the bridge and you're pretty vulnerable here. I don't, like I said, I don't know what the answer is for that.
Discuss.
Something like to go.
well, yes, it was done.
I'm not.
It was a worry for his first day.
Got
You
too
can,
many funds.
if you get a truck sideways out there, not just somebody trying to get trucks.
You can't get that.
All right, with that, nobody else got anything, we have an item on here to adjourn until Thursday, October 26th, that's Thursday,
Yes,
not a Tuesday, Thursday.
and that's up at
At
Harris.
Hart to begin our public hearings on, ranging.
So,
Now, is that gonna be at 7 o'clock? Time,
Yes.
okay.
Wilson makes the motion. Snyder seconds. Time is 8:32. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Any opposed? And this meeting is adjourned.